Magnus, son of Marl, flexing here on the Armageddon bid, going in with a 7-minute 28. Ian Nepomniatchtchi tried to do the same back here but couldn't quite make it. Came up short on the flex. This is the Julius Baer Generational Cup, a Champions Chess Tour event, online chess, and this is the winners quarter-final bracket. We go to this Armageddon, they couldn't be separated, so Magnus just needs to draw to take the victory here. We're picking up with Jan, opening with c4, the most explosive move, the English opening, and Magnus plays e5 in response. A Siciliano with colours reversed, or reverse position anyway, no e4, c5. And now this is actual audio coming from the players' mics. Listen to this as they develop the ponies. Incredible insight there that they can pick up these days. And now Jan goes pawn to e3, presumably preparing to bomb cloud, so Magnus has to take action in the centre. We see c takes on d5, knight recaptures, and more audio getting picked up once more. The bishop developed with a whoosh. Excellent stuff from Jan, top professionalism, and Magnus now takes that seahorse. Why would you do that? Allow your opponent to bring a pawn towards the centre, set up a massive one after you play that bishop to become a big seesaw. Well, Magnus wants to fight back with queen f6. It's all tried and tested theory, knows what he's doing here, and these are the top moves for white, but none of them played. Instead, Jan spends 2 minutes here burning time off his clock and goes pawn to d5, trying to make that one look like a donkey using the pin. So what does Magnus do? Only move to fight back, plays pawn to a6 here, given the exclam because it was the only move to keep a balance. And now, if you take, then Magnus takes here, and black's doing great. Here's a sample line. Look at the power of the bishop pair. So we come back. Jan didn't do this one. Retreats this bishop meekly to e2. And now Magnus completely forgets which way his pieces are supposed to move. Is he really a grandmaster or a very naughty boy? Castles is played, knight d7, and he's headed for c5. This is why he rotated. And now Stock Mollusk shows this great knight maneuver, coming to d2, headed for e4. Or if you then go knight c5 to stop that, then knight c4 is good. But Jan does not do it. Whoops. He plays the move of c4. Very natural idea to open up his bishop on the long diagonal, but he's killed his own knight maneuver. Now we see bishop b2, Brian cheddaring onto the long diagonal, knight c5, another seahorse is born, and knight d2 comes on the board now, but with less venom. This square is occupied by a pawn. Now you can't come to e4 because it's well covered. So we see queen g6 from Magnus, and the opening's gone great for him. He's got more space, or more pertinent space, let's say, taking important squares. He wants to attack, bishop h3 threatened, so king h1 played, cha-cha sliding out the way, but now bishop f5. More pressure on the tender d3 square. Now surely you do something to fight against it. You know, what if you move the knight to b3 or something of that nature? Then there's bishop c2, you know, different kind of problems. Very nasty. So what does Jan do? Rook c1, best move, invites Magnus to occupy that weak square, but he doesn't do it correctly. What does he do? Well, if he goes like this, let's say, then you can ignore it, go bishop a3, and then just recapture if black takes. It's okay, but not so good. And if the knight jumps in here, then there's this very cool ninja computer line, e4. This is how it goes, crazy stuff. And okay, black can escape with the knight because the knight on d2 can fall. Weird stuff, right? So back to what I was saying, apologies. What does he do instead? b6 simply, cementing that knight on c5. Jan now goes f3, looking to set up that big centre, and after Magnus preemptively retreats there, stacking the clergyman, now we see e4 played. Connect 4 on the board. Jan's the real winner here, and Magnus, so impressed, has to fight back against it, and he plays f5, looking to undermine that huge centre. And this is where the game just explodes into life, because Jan finds the best response, pushes on with his own f-pawn, got ourselves a massive pawn cube once again on the board, and it actually forces Magnus to blunder. We should first explore the captures here. Why not take that one? It's simply a free pawn supported by the bishop. Well, this is then the response. Force the bishop back. Now you pick up the pawn and white with the dominant structure. So that one not so hot. What should Magnus do? Well, takes here is actually best. Yes, white does still get this one, this resource, but this time black also has a central pawn, defended, different game, different themes, and black slightly better according to Stock Barnacle. None of it played though. Magnus at this point picks up his rook and plants it on e8. Huge blunder. But we should consider the fact that he was spooked at this point. Flashbacks to the time that he played a 1v1 versus Jan and got completely dominated, effortlessly. It went through his mind, plays the big blunder. What's the punishment here? Well, it's bishop h5. Well done if you saw that one. You're simply skewering that queen to the rook. After it moves, you pick it up. Rook recaptures here, and now the game just gets better and better. Magnus just shredding the rule book here, because after captures, you're already an exchange down. You surely take with the bishop there. No, Magnus plays the best move here, astonishingly. Rook takes on e5. Jan correctly wins that exchange, bishop recaptures, and Magnus is now a double exchange down here. Yes, he's threatening mate, but pawns are equal. What's he really got to show for it other than a small attack? But unbelievably, he starts drumming up chances. Knight f3 is now played, covering the mate, also hits the bishop, so you do have to save that bishop. No time to take on e4. It jumps into f4, hitting this rook here, and now it's surprisingly difficult for white to play. The rook's attacked. What if you go, say, rook c2? Simply save that one. Well, now the knight takes on e4. You have got one pawn, and there's these horrible threats of knight g3 check, but also bishop e3 if the king starts sidestepping. We won't go too deep on the line. It's not so great. Amazingly, black's a tiny bit better here. So rook c2 not the move, but better than what Jan played is this g3 move. Yes, you actually give a pawn because it's pinned, but it then gives chance to unravel with rook c2. Okay, deep lines. d6 also an idea, but e5 was played. Very understandable, saving that pawn, connecting them, preparing to roll, right? But now Magnus has got the great follow-up. It's not takes here. White starts consolidating, but instead knight e4, and all his feces are plowing into the attack here. Knight g3 check, a huge threat, and Jan makes a blunder here trying to defend the position. What happens if you go king g1, sidestepping that knight piece? Well, look at Stock Barnacle poop its pants. Mate in 4, incredibly. There's bishop takes on h2 here, knight recaptures. What's the line? I didn't click down far enough on this, and now you can block with the rook. Yes, but then you deliver this, I suppose, and now this one finishes the job. Okay, king stuck in the corner, and we run back here. If you instead sidestep, then you've still got the same problem of the knight shutting the trap. These two, such an attacking combination. So we come back here, king g1 not working, rook c2, again the best defensive move, but queen e1 was tried. Keeping an eye on these squares here, dark squares, especially f2, but to no avail, because Magnus now checks, the king sidesteps to g1, and now if you go bishop e3 check, which is presumably what Jan calculated, then you've got rook f2 and the queen supports, that kind of thing, the knight's also threatened, etc. But you don't have to do this. You can simply take the rook on f1. Magnus has just outfoxed Jan, a double exchange down. What is going on here? And if you take that knight, for example with the queen, well then simply the rook drops here, and this is too good. You've got an extra bishop ahead, right? Black is completely winning. If the king takes, same problem. So what do we see played in the game? e6 is a nice randomizer going after the bishop. Magnus simply drops it back, and now the rook is saved from c3. Again, what else to do? Taking the knight doesn't work. So this one jumps away. Now we see the knight take on h2, the position collapsing for white, and after rook a3, going after this pawn, but also then counterplay here, Magnus simply plays this excellent, calm, retreating move, bishop to d6, hits that rook, goads it to take on a6, which Jan duly does. He should have stayed on the third rank here, but now Magnus shuts the trap with sniper to c5, and Jan resigns the game. Simply incredible, because this is a deadly check, forcing you to actually give up your queen, and that's game over. You can take it or even try and find checkmates, right? If you try and step here, well, you can't, illegal move. If you try and step here, well, then of course we take like this, open up the discovered check, and in fact this is leading to a checkmate. Even you don't even have to win the queen. What an absolute demolition from a double exchange down. Yes, Jan made a blunder in the defense, but how Magnus turned that around is insane. He's off to get some sleep now, and I'm also off on holiday now for a week with a few friends. Might meet a couple of mates out at the beach as well, play some chess. So unfortunately I'm not going to be able to get a ton of videos up over the next week, maybe one or two, but otherwise I'll be back sort of next Sunday or so, early October. Anyway, thanks very much, hope you enjoyed, hope to see you again soon, and cheers.